black screen dissolves. Your eyes lock with the glowing rectangle. It knows you better than you know yourself. 1,000 invisible calculations, predicting what you'll love, what you'll hate, what you'll buy, who you'll become. What if you surrendered completely? What if you let the algorithm be your god? For 1 week, I did exactly that. Every decision, every purchase, every moment of leisure, dictated by digital suggestions. The outcome was not what I expected. In the quiet moments before sleep, have you ever felt that strange suspicion? That invisible strings pull at your limbs, directing your attention, your desires, your very identity. We speak of choice while algorithms silently author our lives. They know when you're awake, when you're lonely, when you're weak. They know what makes you stop scrolling. But we maintain the illusion that we are masters of our digital domains, that we choose freely, that we remain autonomous beings in a world of infinite suggestion. This comfortable fiction sustains us. Yet beneath it lies a terrifying question. What remains of the self when every preference is predicted, manufactured, and sold back to us? Kierkegaard wrote of the despair of not choosing to be oneself. He never witnessed the algorithmic age where the self becomes a curated collection of suggested identities. He spoke of authentic existence, the courage to choose oneself consciously. But how can we choose ourselves when we no longer recognize which desires are truly our own? The philosopher saw with prescient clarity our modern struggle. We outsource our existence to external systems, fearing the responsibility of genuine selfhood. The algorithm merely perfects this ancient escape. My experiment began on Monday. I awoke to my phone's recommendation. People who wake at 5:30 a.m. are more productive. Despite my night owl nature, I obeyed. The algorithm suggested a morning routine: cold shower, meditation app, algorithmic breakfast recommendation. I followed each command with monk-like devotion. My will suspended, my choices surrendered. By mid-afternoon, shopping algorithms had redirected my wardrobe, music algorithms had rebuilt my playlists, and content algorithms had restructured my beliefs. I became a perfect consumer. The algorithm never sleeps. It watches, learns, adjusts. It does not know compassion or limitation. It optimizes endlessly for engagement, for profit, for control. That first night, lying in bed, I felt a strange lightness. Decision fatigue had vanished. The burden of choice lifted. The algorithm would handle everything. I could simply exist. This is the first seduction, the relief of surrender, the quiet joy of abdicating responsibility, the comfort of being led by an invisible hand that promises to know what's best. We are tired animals carrying the exhausting weight of endless choice. The algorithm whispers, "Rest. I will decide. I will guide. I will create the person you should be." By Wednesday, something shifted. The algorithm had created a strange mirror world, a perfect reflection of my digital self. But this reflection felt increasingly alien. I watched Korean cooking shows, though I never cook. I bought minimalist furniture, though my home is cluttered. I expressed political opinions I'd never considered before. The algorithmic self, optimized for engagement, bears only passing resemblance to the authentic self. Like water finding the path of least resistance, it seeks maximum reaction. The algorithm doesn't want your growth. It wants your attention. It doesn't care about your flourishing. It cares about your eyes, your clicks, your wallet. In this digital Plato's cave, we mistake shadows for substance. We believe the flickering projections represent reality, never turning to see the source of light. The French philosopher Baudrillard warned of the desert of the real, where simulations replace authentic experience. The algorithm constructs this desert one suggestion at a time. We no longer know if we like a song because it moves us or because we've been told to like it. We no longer know if our outrage is genuine or manufactured. By Thursday, I felt myself dissolving. The boundaries between my desires and algorithmic suggestions blurred. I began to experience a profound emptiness, a void where autonomy once lived. In this hollow space, I confronted the painful truth. I had been surrendering to algorithms long before this experiment began. This week merely made visible what was already happening. The smartphone has become our external brain, the algorithm our surrogate soul. We have outsourced our most human capacities, choice, judgment, taste, ethics, to invisible systems. These systems care nothing for your depth, your complexity, your contradictions. They reduce you to patterns, probabilities, data points to be monetized and manipulated. In the silent hours of that fourth night, I felt something break inside me. Not a violent fracture, but a quiet collapse. The weight of inauthenticity finally crushing something essential. The masks we wear for different audiences have multiplied in the digital age. We perform constantly for invisible watchers. We shape ourselves for algorithmic approval. Behind these performances, what remains? When the screens go dark, when the suggestions stop, when you are finally alone with yourself, who are you? Ancient Stoics practiced the removal of all externals to discover the essential self. In our age, the most radical act may be switching everything off. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Today, our thoughts are increasingly colored by algorithmic suggestion, painted in pixels of predicted preference. By Friday, something unexpected emerged from the breakdown, a kind of clarity. In surrendering completely, I had accidentally discovered the boundaries of my true self. The algorithm suggested foods I couldn't stomach, opinions that rang hollow in my mouth, activities that left me cold. In these moments of discord, I found myself again. This is the paradox. Sometimes we must lose ourselves completely to remember who we are. We must see the cage to recognize our captivity. The algorithm's greatest weakness is that it does not know you. It knows patterns, probabilities, pixels. It knows the digital shadow you cast, not the light that casts it. In the spaces where the algorithm fails, where its predictions falter and its suggestions ring false, there lies the unquantifiable human essence that cannot be captured in code. By Saturday, I began to resist, not by rejecting technology outright, but by practicing conscious choice, by questioning each suggestion, by introducing intentional randomness into my digital diet. I clicked on things I disliked. I lingered on posts that challenged me. I deliberately confused the pattern recognition systems that sought to categorize and predict my behavior. The philosopher Heidegger spoke of enframing, technology's tendency to reduce everything to resources for exploitation. The algorithm enframes human attention as its ultimate resource. But attention, freely given, becomes something sacred. When you choose consciously where to direct your gaze, you reclaim the power the algorithm has silently usurped. There is a profound difference between using tools and being used by them, between wielding technology and being wielded by it, between choosing and being chosen for. Sunday brought the experiment's end. I stood at the crossroads of convenience and consciousness, the easy path of algorithmic guidance or the harder road of intentional living. The truth is that algorithms aren't inherently evil. They're tools, extraordinarily powerful ones. The danger lies not in their existence, but in our unconscious surrender to them. What if we used algorithms rather than allowing them to use us? What if we approached them with awareness, intention, and healthy skepticism? Imagine applying Marie Kondo's philosophy to your digital life. Does this suggestion spark joy? Does this recommendation align with your deeper values? Does this content serve your growth? The philosopher Simone Weil wrote about attention as the rarest form of generosity. In an age of infinite distraction, choosing where to direct your attention becomes a profound act. If this resonates with you, perhaps it's time to examine your own relationship with the digital systems that shape your daily experience. What would a week of algorithmic awareness reveal? The algorithm learns from every interaction. It studies your every move. But unlike you, it cannot question its own purpose. It cannot choose its own values. It cannot love. These uniquely human capacities remain our birthright. They are the wellspring of meaning that no code can capture, no data can predict, no system can optimize. In the end, my experiment broke me, but only to rebuild me. It shattered the comfortable illusion that I was already free, already choosing, already fully myself. The breaking was necessary, for in those cracks light entered. In that emptiness, I found space to question. In that surrender, I discovered what cannot be surrendered. We cannot escape the algorithmic age, but we can navigate it with greater awareness. We can use its tools without becoming tools ourselves. We can choose amid the suggestions. The great Sufi poet Rumi wrote, "You have escaped the cage. Your wings are stretched out, now fly." The cage of algorithmic control is invisible until we recognize it. But once seen, it cannot be unseen. And in that seeing lies our freedom, not from technology, but from unconscious captivity to it. The algorithm will continue its invisible calculations. It will suggest, predict, and shape. But between stimulus and response lies a space that belongs only to you. In that space, that sacred pause between algorithmic suggestion and human choice, lives the essence of what makes us more than machines, more than patterns, more than data. The screen still glows, the suggestions still appear, but now, perhaps, you see them differently. Now, perhaps you choose more consciously. Now, perhaps you remember who you are. What remains when the algorithm falls silent? Only this, the quiet miracle of your own consciousness, choosing itself anew in each moment, authoring its own existence in a world of infinite suggestion. The final truth is both terrifying and liberating. No algorithm, no matter how sophisticated, can tell you who you are. That discovery remains the great adventure of being human.